some of you, I think, have seen us previously, and I'll be happy to provide an introduction for anybody who's not. Just to provide a little bit of background on our company, I'm going to just take you through our history and some of our differentiators so that you're more familiar with who we are and what we offer, and why Orion is a little bit different from other portfolio management systems that exist in the marketplace. I guess sharing my screen. Can everybody see it okay? Actually, I'm not sharing my screen. Now I am sharing my screen. Can everyone see it okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, great. So Orion Advisor Services, we grew out of an institutional RIA called CLS Investments about 20 years ago. And CLS Investments was experiencing growth and realized that the platform they were using was really a hindrance to that growth. It wasn't flexible. They were a TAMP, so they supported advisors who outsourced money management to them, and they didn't have a real way to be flexible to take on an advisor who had a non-standard billing exception or reporting exception. So they realized they needed to build their own platform, and so Orion was created in the early 90s to be CLS Investments' middle and back office. As we enhanced our platform through the 90s, we realized this is definitely a marketable platform, and Orion Advisor Services was created as a separate company in 1999. So when we were introduced in 1999, obviously the platform was local installed version. We weren't web-based at the time. We didn't integrate with as many firms, but we were very flexible. The platform had the ability to have each advisor with a unique reporting requirements, different versions of reports, the different methods of billing within a single database, and also different trading platforms. Not platforms, trading styles, whether it's model-based, tactical, models of models. And so as we've evolved, so has our platform. So Orion today administers over 400 billion of assets on our platform. We reconcile over 2 million accounts on a daily basis. And just in terms of clients, RIA clients, we have over 1,000 RIAs using the Orion system. So the customization is really core to our platform. We were always intended to be a very comprehensive offering to support the full life cycle of the middle and back office for an RIA. And as times have changed, technology's advanced, now Orion is completely web-based. We took the decision to open up our platform to third-party integration partners several years ago. So our open architecture approach was unique in the industry. And because of that, we have more integrations than any of our competing portfolio management systems. So Orion can work with various CRMs, financial planning applications, and we could cover those that are relevant for you today. Does anyone, before we get started, does anyone have any questions for me? Okay. So the Orion interface, you can go to login.orionadvisor.com and you can access our platform. It's an app-based interface, and you'd have the ability to search for a client, an app, or a report using this spotlight search feature. So if I wanted to pull up the Martin household, I can pull that up here, and I could see the holdings, the activity, the performance information. If I wanted to run a report, I can put in the name of a report as well. So if I go back to this spotlight search and type performance report, I can generate a performance report from here, or I can navigate into another application from this place, from this spotlight search, like the portfolio audit, if I had wanted to. But the household overview, just to cover that, for Dean Elizabeth Martin, we're looking at an aggregate view of multiple financial accounts. So these could be brokerage accounts, advisory accounts. They could be held away accounts that we're aggregating onto the platform. And on the right-hand side, top right, we have different groupings. Right now, I'm grouping by asset category, but as you can see, I have different entity levels that I can group, and I have 3 levels of grouping. So as I expand my equity category, I can expose my asset class and the underlying positions that are assigned to that. Disregard these classifications. This is demo data, and with people playing with it, we do have a lot of securities that are not in the logical asset classes. I could also drill down into an individual account level and show this detail if I had wanted to, or I can change the date range here. We do have point-to-point performance available in our system. So when I come over to the performance tab, I'm able to see Dean Elizabeth Martin's performance for this odd date range, March 16, 2015 through April through today. And I can drill down and see that for their benchmarks, for their asset classes, their asset categories, and for their underlying securities. So Orion does have 4,000 indices that are updated on a daily basis. You can blend those indices together to create custom blended benchmarks. You can also use traded securities like ETFs or mutual funds for your benchmarks. And those benchmarks can then be assigned to a client, an account, an asset category, asset class, risk category, a model, a management style, or a representative. If as a representative or an advisor, if you had wanted to benchmark your book of business against a particular benchmark, you have the ability to do that. All right. Any questions that anybody has on the line? Orion will handle the daily reconciliation for you. You do have the ability to see all of the transactional detail. This is just a high-level overview. So if I wanted to see the Martin's transactions over the date range that I've selected, I can see that detail here, all the distributions, the advisory fees, any other charges, etc. If I wanted to go into much more detail, I can go into the portfolio audit. The portfolio audit houses all of my clients' registrations, accounts, assets, and transactions. So if I wanted to see all of the detail of their holdings and for any as of date, I'd be able to go into the portfolio audit and run that and a lot of other use cases. We have a client presentation tool called Insight as well. Insight is an advisor configured dashboard. So at a firm level or at a database level, Vantage would be able to set up dashboards and make them available. And the advisors would also be able to go in here and create their own dashboards. And if they wanted to, they can hide the Vantage created dashboards and just use their own. But if you had wanted to create a dashboard and review client portfolio, you can pull up, in this case, we'll use Dean Elizabeth Martin again. I can create a slide for my commentary that includes either content I've typed or pasted in. I can embed URLs. I can add a video or clip art, or I should say images. And I can add any of the tiles that I want to display here. So we have them organized by category, so activity, AUM, holdings. We have some integration partners like Money Guide Pro and certain custodians. The performance information, profile information like systematics or RMDs, and then some additional tiles. And I can organize those wherever I like. So I'm going to get rid of these Schwab ones. And I can move the performance chart around. And then when I want to present this, I can click the play button in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. And this would be your commentary slide. This is going to be essentially your net amount invested over time. So what the client gave me and what we have now and the difference. And the performance information over the date range with the custom benchmarks. I can drill into the asset allocation if I wanted to. I can also see this as a table and click through into this detail here. And if I wanted to change this, I can change that cascading grouping level on the fly here. Just like a PowerPoint presentation, I do have the ability to create presentation notes. So if I was meeting with a client through a GoToMeeting like this, or if we were meeting in my office and I was projecting this or I had it up on a monitor, I'd be able to work with my client, go through this presentation, add my notes, review all of the slides that we have, and then download this and convert it as a PDF. If I save it, also would save it on the client record, and it would be available in the client portal for my client to reference whenever they had wanted to. So this isn't a tool that's going to replace your quarterly performance reports, but it's a tool that we've put in place to provide more interactive client presentations. Does anybody have any questions on this? So if you wanted to, you can have dashboards, multiple dashboards for your client meetings here. and you can toggle between dashboards in the middle of the meeting. The portfolio audit, as I mentioned, gives you access to a lot of information. If I'd wanted to go into the portfolio audit, it'll default right now, since I'm going in through the Martins household overview, just going to default to the Martins. And if I clicked on the Martins, I can navigate any of their accounts. I can see all of their transactions. That would be the tag icon. I'm sorry, the transactions would be the crisscrossed arrows. The tag icon would be their asset list. And if I want to run a report at this level, I'd click this. So if I wanted to see all the assets, I can click this tag and it'll list out for the Martins all of the positions that they hold. If I wanted to see a different as of date, I could go back and say that I wanted to see this for, end of the year, put in December 31st and refresh this grid. So these are customizable grids. If I had wanted to have the account number on the leftmost column, I can drag and drop it. If there was a column that I wanted to add that was currently disabled, I can add that column here. So for example, if I wanted to put the custodian in, I'm able to show the custodian for the underlying positions. And if I wanted to show the account type or any of that information, you just drag it and add it to the grid and drop it wherever you want it to appear on the grid. These export into Excel, so I could take this down if I wanted to. And if I come back up to the top, on the top left side, I've got all of my client households laid out. So if I wanted to see my client households and sort by value, it's very easy to do that from our system. Again, I could create customization by adding additional columns. I can save this as a new view. So if I wanted to see all my clients with 2 million or above, I've already created that view. I just have to select it, and these are all my clients with more than 2 million of assets. If I wanted to filter, as I have here, 2 million or greater, I can do that. If I wanted a group, now if I had wanted a group by custodian or management style, I'd be able to add in those groupings here, or by state in this case. I can group my clients by state. Okay, the same thing for the transactions. If I wanted to go in, I'm going to go into the Martins and see all their transactions. I can click the crisscrossed arrows and I can see all the transactions for any particular date range. I don't have a whole lot of transactions in our demo database, but if I'd wanted to pull up a greater. So I've got basically all transactions since inception for this client here. You can see we go back to 2006. I've got all my transaction descriptions, products, tickers, the amounts. If I wanted to search for a particular security, let me see what we have here. So here's all my transactions related to Walmart. I could just use this quick row, this top row to quick filter the data below. If I wanted to go in and review this particular product and the setup, I can click on the products and go into the security master. If I wanted to see everybody who holds Walmart, with another click, I can see all of my assets. In this case, these are all of my accounts that are currently holding Walmart. And here's the registration names. These are all my clients. They're all holding 290 shares. Obviously, we copy over the data from one client to the other, and I'd be able to see my exposure to Walmart for each of these individual clients. Okay. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. The next tool I'll go to is the report builder. This is where you can build your own custom reports. I could have my own theme. So if I wanted to have my firm's logo, I could add that in here, upload the logo, and decide where I want it to appear, whether I want it to appear on the left, the right, what font size, what font style I'd like to use. So anywhere you click on the document, you can edit that particular element. So once I've created my theme, I can run a report using a theme. I can also use multiple themes. So if I had multiple business lines, or if I had some clients that I wanted to have larger font for, I can do that as well and create multiple themes. once I want to create a new report, this is where you design your quarterly statements, your face-to-face reports. The report builder allows you to choose from any of the 400 plus sub-reports that we have available. And I can drag and drop them into the template for that report. So I would give that report a name. So let's call this Vantage Performance Report. And then I can decide whether I want this to be a portrait or a landscape report, whether I want it to be standard or advanced. Advanced allows me to report at different entities. Hello? Oh. Advanced allows me to report at multiple entity levels. So if I wanted to bring in a quick summary, I can search by typing in this field, or I can go to the topic. We try to do a good job, but some of these sub-reports cross over multiple groupings. So like if I wanted to have activity and allocation, I'd be able to pull that in. Or if I wanted to do a performance bar chart, I could bring in a bar graph with my performance information. And if I wanted this to appear above this, I could just drag and drop it. Is anybody using MoneyGuide Pro today? No? Okay. I guess in terms of what you can add, if you had clients with fixed income, you can add in fixed income summary information. That'll show the portfolio duration, yield to maturity. We do have Moody's ratings published into our database directly through a licensing agreement. S&P, if you wanted to have S&P ratings, you could import that into the database, but we don't have that currently fed in directly from S&P. If you wanted to have benchmark detail, risk and return scatter plots, these are all available for you. Standard deviation, scatter plots, just a basic comparison bar, I can bring those into. So there's a lot of different options available, and similar to Portfolio Center, we have allocation charts as well. So you can show an allocation overview or allocation over time. You can show a portfolio appraisal. So any questions on the report builder?
Ryan, they may not be using MoneyGuide Pro today, but in the future I see that financial planning software being used. So maybe you just want to show how you can add information from there.
Sure. Yeah. So if you're using MoneyGuide Pro, you can pull in. We have direct integration with their report writer, so you can pull in the MoneyGuide Pro plan summary and be able to show your client within the consolidated report their current scenario and the proposed scenario, their full plan, or you can just simply bring in the Monte Carlo meter if you had wanted to. We also work with another financial planning vendor called InStream to bring in the InStream plan analysis. So this is a competitor to MoneyGuide Pro. And we also work with eMoney and bring our reporting into the eMoney client portal. Other integration partners that have report integration are Riskalyze and Advisory World as well. But basically, this is where you build any of the template reports that you'd like to have. You can create a version of the report and create a group of clients and essentially push a version to a specific client group. You can make this available to a client in their client portal. If you had wanted to exclude an individual client or include an individual client, you can import a list or search by name. So that's the report builder at a high level. I'll go into the client portal and show you how you'd communicate these reports to your clients through web access. So the Orion client portal is also customized with your logo, your color scheme, your tab name would be changed to the tab name for your firm. You can give the client the ability to land on any page that you believe is going to be the most relevant. So if you were using MoneyGuide Pro, for example, we do have the plan summary integrated with the client portal. You could use that if you just wanted them to go straight to the documents area so they could easily access those statements that you generated. You could do that for them as well. We integrate with third-party cloud storage vendors like Box, Dropbox, Ignite, NetDocuments, and ShareFile. So if you're using any of those cloud-based file share applications or document storage capabilities, you'll be able to integrate that into the client portal. So this is an example of a quarterly statement. You can insert your commentary, and then the client specific information appears. Their portfolio overview, this is an allocation overview, an activity summary. You can choose the dates. You can show the invested value comparison, what your client contributed and what they have, performance, and so forth. Within the client portal, your client would be able to see an interactive chart that shows their overview. They can drill in by account, or they can see this by asset category. They can also change the date that they want to see this information. So this is just going to be the values and the position balances. They can see this for an individual account or an aggregate. They can see performance, or you can turn this off. So if you didn't want your client seeing performance, this tab would be removed entirely. They would have no idea that they were missing it. But if you want to leave performance, but eliminate the ability for your clients to drill down into the securities they hold, you can take this away. You can also take away the benchmarks. So you can essentially limit this view if you'd like to. Again, they could change it to asset category from account. We actually have 7 different grouping options that are available. So you can have account, asset category, asset class, risk category, model, management style, and asset level strategy. The holdings information is similar to the overview, except it's laid out in a table format, and it also includes cost basis. So they'll see the aggregate cost basis by position, unrealized cost basis. You can turn that off if you'd like. They'd be able to put in whatever date range that they would like here, and they can see their activity. So if they wanted to come here and see since inception activity, like I done in the portfolio audit, on the right-hand side, they'd see a nice chart that shows their portfolio invested value comparison, and they'd see all of the activity displayed in this table. And you can control this as well. So if you didn't want advisory fees to be displayed, you'd be able to omit that, and it would get dropped into this market value increase bucket. As I showed you earlier, the documents are available. This is where your statements would appear after that quarterly cycle and after the batch statement run has taken place. The reports that you've decided to enable to your clients through that web menu feature that I showed. If you wanted your clients to be able to run a fixed income and yield report, that report would be available for them to run for any point in time that they'd like for their household or their accounts. As I mentioned, Money Guide Pro does update into the Orion plan. Into the Orion portal. So their plan summary, the Monte Carlo meter, the net worth, and insurance. And through the tools, we integrate with a balance sheet tool here. This is a proprietary balance sheet. If your client wanted to add a new account, they can manually add it, or they can link in an account. And every time every day, the new balance, let's say they link to Chase account, it would automatically populate this balance sheet. The RMD tool allows you to show your client their calculated requirement distributions and whether it's been satisfied or not. If it's not satisfied, as this is the case, they'll have a red asterisk. If it is, there'll be a green check. We integrate with Riskalyze, who is a third-party risk scoring vendor. That value at risk score that Riskalyze generates is available here. And there's an update section where you can post any videos or announcements, whatever you'd like. Does anyone have any questions on the client portal? Okay. So one of the tools that's kind of related to the last thing I talked about there, the RMD dashboard. If you'd like to see all of your clients' accounts and the requirement distribution that our firm has calculated or software has calculated, you'd be able to see that here. If you wanted to go through, monitor this, generate a letter to your client, you'd be able to do that from our system. We also do have trade order management, so you can do a sell rebalance or prorated cash trade in order to raise money for this distribution. So I guess in terms of the higher level reporting, we do have an application called Trends. Trends gives you the ability to see across your book of business the activity, the factors of growth and attrition, the AUM and your exposure by custodian, by account type, by product, your billing information, your client demographic detail. So each of these dashboards reveals a different area, like in the activity. If I went here, I would just see my book of business. If I wanted to slice and dice this, right now I've got a filter on for just my equity model. Let me remove that. So I've got a book of 179 million. I can see my factors of growth and attrition. If I wanted to drill into a particular element, I can. So I could see all of my client accounts and their activity. If I got rid of this view, I can see it by month in aggregate across my book. I can see the trends. And if I wanted to filter out a particular group, I have filtering on the right-hand side. On the AUM, similar to this, I can see my total assets by account type. And if I wanted to see by particular management style in our system, you can code to management style or model assignment. I'd be able to use that as a filtering criteria. So if I just wanted to see how much I have in IRA accounts, I can click on this and the entire table is going to refresh just on that account type. So I've got basically within these management styles, I've got 1.84 million in the moderate growth. I can see my average account size, my average client, and my managed AUM in IRA accounts. Does anyone have any questions for me on the Trends application? I don't want to go through each one of these, but okay. So should I cover some of the workflows like new accounts and billing, Joe? Do you think that would be valuable, or should I gloss over those things and focus on reporting only?
Maybe like an overview.
Okay. So in terms of the new account center, you'd have the ability to see all of the new accounts that have opened up for you. So those will flow in through the custodian feed that we have. You'd be able to see the new money that's available. I'm going to expand this because we don't have money really hitting in our demo database, but over the last 60 days, I've brought in 238,000. It's all coming from this one account. If I wanted to flag an account with a model assignment, or I'd be able to go in here and edit the account details. I can put in my date of birth, which of course is going to be required for my RMD calculations. I can add my fee schedule here. I can add my billing information, what the frequency is, whether it's advanced arrears, quarterly, monthly. So I can have clients that have multiple fee schedule assignments, of course. And also, if I wanted to bill on part of my book in advance, part of my book in arrears, I have the flexibility to do that within our system. I can have accounts paying for other accounts. I can household bill rather than having the accounts billed individually. And basically, there's audits that you could go through to make sure that your accounts are set up properly. As you can see here, missing information will highlight anywhere a required database field is missing. Orion also integrates with Laser App and Quick, which are both document form filling applications. The custodial forms are maintained on those vendors, and we'd be able to initiate a new account opening right from Orion system. So basically with those integrations, you'd go through the new account wizard, populate the client's information, and it would use those form filling technologies to populate the custodial forms. So at the end, you'd have the pre-populated custodial account opening forms in an electronic format. You can either have the client sign them and route them for account opening, or you can load them into, if you have the ability, I think you can load them into your client's, your custodian's e-signature, DocuSign workflow. So that was the new account center, and I also kind of touched on the billing audit. In terms of training and the setup, Orion does have an Ascent curriculum that you'd be able to use. This is arranged by topic, so there may be certain Ascents that aren't as relevant for you as others. But basically, when you come on board and you're looking to familiarize yourself with the platform, we do provide training for the home office. We also would be able to provide you with this Ascent tool, and this is going to be a web-based tool. So if I wanted to go through something like we just covered here, I could go through the report cloning and versioning tool or the report trail book, guidebook. If I clicked on this and went through this training, it'll be a demo. This will tell you the objectives, and this is going to be a web-based demo similar to the one that I just provided to you. And at the end of this demonstration, there's going to be a very brief quiz. So the Orion Trade Order Management System, called TOM, gives you the ability to trade your clients, as I said, two-way model, where you can add a tactical trade for your clients through TOM. If you had wanted to create models in our system for either reporting or both reporting and trading, you can do that. I'm just going to go into this equity model 2, edit the selected model. This is where you would add the securities that you want to include in this model portfolio. And I could put in the target allocation by security, a drift collar, upper and lower, and I'd be able to save this model. I could build model aggregates, which are going to be a blend of two underlying models. So in this case, I have that equity model 2 at a 20% weight and my conservative model at 80% weight. And basically, I could give this a name that has, I guess, a risk objective kind of convention. And this, we just basically did put the actual weight 80-20 in here. But this would be what I assign to my client accounts, and this would be how I can analyze my clients' portfolios against the model to determine whether a rebalance is required. So within the TOM application, you have the ability to submit a rebalance for an entire model or all of your accounts if you would wanted to. So if I wanted to rebalance back to those target allocations, our system would automatically go in and tell you, you could put in limiting parameters here, like minimum trade percent or minimum trade amount to eliminate those de minimis trades. And then if I click rebalance, our system is going to go through the calculations and generate all of the orders that are required to bring your client back to their target allocation for any positions where they're over or under that drift collar. And the orders would be reviewed on the order screen. We can have the maker checker process set up. So in this case, if I just wanted to review one client, Jane Smith, this is kind of trade block. I'll review Steve Martin. Here are all the orders for Steve Martin. I can see post-trade what the asset allocation is going to look like. So red is bad, so we're actually probably have duplicate orders in here. If I wanted to edit an order, like the quantity, I can go in here and adjust this manually to 960, let's say, or I can use this rounding feature to round to the nearest 5 if I wanted to. I guess in terms of the order workflow, we do have the ability to block trade. You can execute directly with Pershing through fixed connectivity for ETFs and equities. For mutual funds, we'll generate a trade file that you can import into the NetX 360 application. So there are other trade tools that are available. If I wanted to use a substitution tool or global trade tool, I'd be able to go through and sell one product, buy another. So if I wanted to sell out of Microsoft and I wanted to buy into Apple, for example, I can select the product I want to sell, the product I want to buy, and the quantity. So in this case, I'll do 100%. If I wanted to just sell, 90% of this to Apple and then add in cash for the remaining amount, I can split this sale of Microsoft across underlying securities, two underlying securities in this example. And then 10. So I can see 35 accounts are going to have a sale for the full amount of Microsoft, and then these are going to be the securities that we buy into. Trade to a target percentage, this is going to be where I select a security and my target percent for that security, and I buy or sell to that quantity. The tax ticker is going to do something similar to the global trade, except it's going to look for a short-term or long-term gain or loss in a certain amount or percentage. So it'll use that as the determination for whether an account should have a trade generated. Tactical trades will bring up a grid. So if I wanted to pull up example 405, I can pull up an account and decide what securities I want to buy or sell. I can add a security to this account through this quick add feature here. But if I just wanted to go in and say buy to spend some of my cash, I can put in the share quantity, or I could trade to a target percentage if I wanted to and put that amount in here. But as I put in a quantity, you can see in the update, so I've got a net change of 4,185 because I'm going to be buying IEV 100 shares. I can see the update on my cash target. And if I were to adjust this to 200, as you can see now I'm at 2.56. If I wanted to overlay an asset class grid on here, I can see my underlying investments arranged by asset class and the totals at the asset class level. On the right-hand side, I can see the cost basis information to determine whether I want to add or reduce or take advantage of a loss in that for a tax loss harvest. Does anybody have any questions on trading? Okay. We have compliance tools, so you can go through internal compliance checks if you'd like. We do have 13F filing form requirements, so that we can generate the 13F form, the 13H. We can help generate the ADV. So as long as the data is being maintained properly in our system, whether an account is discretionary or non-discretionary, the registration types, we'll be able to generate the audits that you need to comply with SEC requirements and to support an SEC audit if you have one. If there's something that you're looking for that's not here, you can, let's say you get a reporting request from a state auditor or the SEC, you'd be able to submit that request to us, and we have a 48-hour turnaround SLA for this. So within 48 hours, we'll turn around the report request that had been requested of you. So there's quite a few applications on our platform. I think I covered at a high level some of the major ones. Joe, is there anything that you think I should have highlighted that I didn't touch on?
No, I definitely, if anybody has any questions, I have a question here from someone who isn't able to ask a question over the phone. This is a situation where they run a report currently every Monday that shows year-to-date performance on all of their accounts in one report. Is there anything that's like that in here?
Yeah. So what you could do is, if you wanted to have that scheduled on a Monday, we have data queries. I assume that report is going to be in Excel. We could do this exact same thing. So in our data queries, this is where you can take large data or any of the data fields that we have in our database and simple calculations like the ones that we're doing for performance. If I open up all data queries, we've got a lot of clients that are pulling some type of performance reports on a daily, weekly basis. So if I wanted to have account performance, gross and net by rep, or account performance since inception, whatever that time period may be, I can go in here and we can build that query for you. This one, asset group performance, runs gross and net performance for all accounts in the database for a specified range and grouping. So let me see what this is. So this, I can put in the date range and I can have it generate on screen in CSV or Excel. And another thing that I could do is I could schedule this data query to run on a weekly basis. So I would just have to just define what the start time would be and what I want the time period to be. This actually isn't going to be at the account level. As I see here, this is actually going to run asset. This is going to be aggregate asset class performance or risk category or for your whole database. So it'll aggregate it based on that grouping. But certainly we have the ability to report at an account level if that's what you're looking for.
Cool, thank you.
Just to point out too, those reports, if you schedule them and you want them available when you arrive in the morning, those reports would be made available here. This is the notifications hub. So that report would be delivered. You'd see a bubble indicating there's a new notification. And when you go in and click on that, you'll there'll be a CSV file that'll download locally. I don't think I have any examples of data queries in here. It's a lot of processes that kicked off, but
yeah, I would imagine that anything that our folks are doing either in Portfolio Center or Allbridge could be duplicated with Orion.
Yeah,
that'd be fair. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of firms that come to Orion out of Portfolio Center. We've we have clients that come to us from Allbridge as well. But in terms of processes, it's a change of process, but you have a lot more flexibility in your reporting. You have a lot more customization. You have a lot more control of your data. So where it may be difficult for you to really to figure out how many clients you have or how many accounts you have or how many clients hold a particular security on any particular date, as I hope I've showed you, that's all readily available for you here. Any other questions from anybody on the line?
Guys, there's an opportunity. If there's anything that you do today or that you're interested in knowing if it'll do for you in the future, please ask. All right. Well, thank you, Ryan.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Take care.